Welcome to Reddit on Reddit, the internet's auditory version of Reddit. I'm Nelson Allingham, joined by Michael Campbell.
We're back. It's another slog, week to week, churning out every week. It's hard to do, isn't it?
Every week.
Yes. Here.
We're here every week. Yep. Not a break.
Not
ever.
We would never have a break.
Sure.
But if you did have a break, would you do it as like, I don't know, like a podnapping or something later on?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Probably like may as well. I mean, I hate podnapping, so at the very least I'll use my experience of having a holiday as the podnapping. Yeah.
Yes, no, for those not aware, you've been away, Nelson.
I've been away. Yes, we got somebody who sounds like me to fill in for the last week. Not one listener wrote in thinking
I was going to
that...
say, we weren't positive that you were going to make it back in time.
Yeah.
Should we reveal to listeners our backup plan, or should we keep it in the pocket in case we ever need it?
Look, I think we'll keep it in the pocket.
Okay.
But put it this way.
Yeah.
If one day I sound a bit off.
Yeah. Well, let's put it this way.
Yeah.
You'll never notice.
You'll never...
If we replace one of us, you'll never know. We've got a pretty airtight plan.
Pretty smart, I think. I like the idea that one day we will replace both of us.
Oh, yeah. That's good.
And no one will know.
No.
But yes, here's just a quick observation to start with.
Sure.
Coming back into doing the podcast. One is, I nailed that intro.
Yeah.
I haven't been...
You haven't missed a step.
Didn't miss a step. And I want everybody to just like appreciate a little bit.
Well, the funny thing is we're talking like this because we haven't recorded in like over a month.
Yeah.
But everyone's been listening to this week
Yeah.
to week. So no one else cares.
Yeah.
But I did actually think, oh, he's got it. He didn't stumble.
Straight back into it. Also, Melbourne sucks because it's really cold.
It's really cold. It's really wet.
Yeah.
I was actually just in the Whitsundays myself, which is, for those that aren't familiar with Australia, like tropical, beautiful part of Queensland at the top.
Yeah.
Palm trees everywhere. It was super sunny.
Yeah.
And then I came back into Melbourne. I was wearing shorts when I left.
Yeah.
I came back into Melbourne. It was like 4 degrees and wet. And
Yeah. You had to cut off your legs because of the frostbite.
Yeah.
That's how cold it was. Anywho, let's get into it, Kebo. Because I've been away, and again, can't stress enough, I know nobody else is really aware of this. But I saved up a few dad jokes.
Oh, of course.
I'm still going with the dad jokes.
Okay. I must admit, I forgot about that.
You forgot about that. It was so long ago.
Because in the over a month we had off, did not listen to this show once.
Yeah, exactly.
I want to stress that.
Yeah.
And I had several people like message me things.
Yeah.
Someone's like, can't believe you can't drive stick. I'm like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Like you said on the podcast. It's like, oh, right. Yeah, that was like a month ago.
Anywho, okay. So this first one is by Mr. Steve A. Why doesn't Batman have supervision?
Because bats are blind?
His parents died.
Okay.
Supervision.
Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah.
It's good. It's hilarious.
He's got Alfred, though, technically.
He's got Alfred.
Not to ruin the joke.
Oh, no. He does have supervision. Don't worry. I'll leave a comment. Here's another one.
Yeah.
It's by Model Missing.
Okay.
Police confirmed that the man who fell from the 15th floor of the nightclub was not a bouncer. That was pretty good.
It's pretty good.
And oh no, I do have one more. Don't worry, I've got one more. Can't This is actually posted in one-liners, which technically the last one was a one-liner. Anyway, but it was by Z Croak. Started a new political party called the Scissors Party. We've been told we're not allowed to run.
That's pretty good. I like that
It's
one.
good, right? Yeah.
Except for you had to bring politics into it, Nelson.
Oh, I'm sorry.
We've just had an election here in Australia. It's a very hot topic.
Yeah, but
Actually, you're away for it.
well, I know.
Lucky you.
We couldn't vote. We looked into trying to vote actually because we wanted to. We really wanted to.
You wanted to keep the government we had.
Yeah, because it was so good.
You're very angry
We
at the
were
result.
desperate to vote. No, and then like it was such a weird relief. I know it means like so little, you know, right?
Yeah.
Like everybody says, yeah, every vote counts, but it honestly sort of at the same time doesn't. Like it does, but it doesn't.
Yeah.
And so, but for the kind of first time, it really felt like, man, if we don't change governments, I'm going to feel responsible because I didn't get my vote in.
The thing that I find kind of funny around election time here is you see it, I'm going to say mainly in the US. So our US listeners they'll vibe with this.
Yeah.
Is they have like the people going, guys, you really got to get out there and vote.
Yeah.
Because obviously it's not...
they can elect to vote.
Exactly. Whereas here, it's actually a legal requirement, unless like you're absent or something.
Yeah.
You have to vote. And they give you, they do it on a weekend. Like they make it easy for you, but you have to vote.
Yeah.
But you still get the odd person here being like, guys, get out there and vote.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like, yeah. No, legally you're required to.
Yeah, you'll get a fine if you don't.
Yeah. If they said, hey guys, get out there and vote, otherwise you will get that $180 fine or whatever it is.
Yeah,
I'd be like, oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, I find it funny, just this weird aping of something they've clearly seen elsewhere to be like, yeah, I should tell people to vote. It's
yeah, exactly. They haven't quite separated that on social media, the people that are saying go out there and vote aren't Australian. But yeah, anyway, good result in the end. Pretty much a landslide victory.
Yeah.
And it's really funny. It was funny actually because the government that was in power leans far more right than...
ironically called the Liberal government.
The Liberal government, yeah. And it was funny because... They lost obviously the election, but they lost a lot of seats as well.
Yeah.
And what was interesting was those people who lost their seats, especially in certain, areas that they were considered like the strong ones, like they hadn't lost that zone for, decades kind of thing.
I live in one.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
You technically live in the same one, right?
Yeah, I think so. And they got beaten by an independent, which is amazing.
So when I went to vote, so in our district, the person that had been here, I know we're talking local politics. Bear with us here.
Yeah.
A guy called Josh Frydenberg, who was like the treasurer, or was the treasurer of Australia.
Yeah.
Like, just a real fucking scumbag.
Yeah.
kind of guy.
100% fake all the time.
Yeah, definitely.
I've never seen him speak or anything where he doesn't sound fake.
Yes. But yeah, he was in charge of our area for like 10 years.
Yeah.
And this independent woman came up.
Yeah.
She was very climate-led and whatever. I thought she seemed pretty good. Anyway, when we went to vote, at the front of the line to vote, Josh Frydenberg was there at the front, like saying hi to everyone.
Yeah.
He had a little bacon and egg muffin. He was eating it because it was quite early. He was saying hi to everyone, and we just kind of avoided him.
Yeah.
But I remember thinking the first thought that came into my mind, if I had said it to him, would have destroyed him.
Yeah.
Not because I would have said anything about policy or whatnot.
Yeah.
I was just like, oh, you're quite short.
Yeah.
And I reckon he would have
got to him.
God damn it.
Yeah.
Anyway, he lost by like a fair bit.
Yeah, by like 10%, I think. Which is... Or, no, that's not quite right, actually. 10% between him and his opposition, but then there's other votes as well. Anyway.
People must have missed this. Anyway, the point is, Conservative government, he must be shattered that he not only lost to an independent, but an independent woman.
Oh, yeah.
That would stick.
That would
Oh, yeah, I gave her a thumbs up as well.
Yeah.
And she looked at me like, I don't know who the fuck you are.
Yeah. I like to think that you went back in and changed your vote.
He said hi to me at least.
Yes. Anyway, I had a point to that. Oh, okay. Quick other point that I was going to make, was that a lot of people lost their votes. And what was interesting was a lot of the people, they either write like conceding letter or they make a statement or whatever.
Congratulations to the person,
And quite a few of them basically said, oh shit, we went too far right, which is so interesting because it was like, I think they just thought that with Trump and everything, they just assumed that we had a far more right kind of
leaning country.
Yeah, more people that lean that way. But then they realized, actually, we lost so badly that actually we went way too far right.
I also know that there's been some pretty tragic stuff happened in America in the last couple of days.
Yeah.
And gun control has obviously come up again. I just want to let everyone know that it's possible because our conservative government, like one of the most conservative governments we've ever had, was the one that did gun control in Australia.
Yeah, yeah.
So you guys can do it. You can do it.
Here's the thing. They won't ever.
Yeah, I know.
Can I say something that's a bit insensitive? I'm so overhearing about their mass shootings. I know that's insensitive, but I fucking hate it because it's just going to come up again and again, and they're not going to do anything about it. And I know it's if you're American and you're just as angry at it as well, it's no offense against you, it's against your system. I'm sure you're just as outraged and angry, but I'm sick of hearing it because I'm like, until there's actual change, you're just going to keep repeating the same things.
It makes you sad in that way. It's like screaming into the void kind of thing.
Yeah. Like you hear the same arguments every single time. Oh, they're giving their thoughts and prayers and blah, blah, blah. Like Did
you hear someone on our Discord a little while ago said that they recommended this podcast to someone and then later found out that they were quite conservative Trumpster American.
Right,
I was like, they would not have liked this podcast.
Yeah.
And we don't get political all that often.
Yeah.
But I'm just imagining that someone recommends it to a friend that turns out they hear this one intro, they're like, oh no.
Yeah.
No, thank you.
Yeah, Exactly.
Anyway, Reddit.
Anyway. I really regret and would like to apologize that we spoke about some government stuff.
And then we went into local government.
I apologize. It's been a month, guys.
Yeah.
Cut us some
We're
slack.
catching up. Legitimately. me, Nelson and I are just catching up at this point.
Yeah. Okay.
You're wearing a 10-year-old hoodie, I've noticed, by the way. It's just why we're catching up.
Oh,
it's from 2012.
Let's talk about this for a while.
Okay.
Not really. Let's get it.
We'll talk about it afterwards.
Okay. Oh, this first one's so long too.
Oh no.
This is by The Ultimate Roller. And it was in Today I Fucked Up. Today I fucked up by going on a date with a crazy catfish and not bailing. This girl... Oh, I'm going to have to read this fast. It's quite long.
Oh, I just saw the block of text.
Yeah. It's good though, Camber. Okay, here we go. This girl and I met on Instagram. In the pictures she had sent, she looked very much my kind and I enjoyed the conversations with her, so I thought I'd ask her out. We decided to go to the movies. Now this is where all my problems began. I'm on the phone with her trying to figure out where she is when she says, "Oh, look behind you. I can see you." I turn around and God behold, I see someone completely different from the pictures she had sent. In the photo, she looked around 5'6", very pretty face and nice body. What I saw was a 4'4", extremely overweight girl that looked completely different from what I had seen. Now, at first, I was a bit weirded out, but I thought, oh well, it's not all about looks, and continued the date without calling it out as I had enjoyed our conversations prior. We go off to book our tickets, find our seats and settle. So now the movie is about to start and she hasn't said a word. So I want to start some sort of conversation with her. But every time I try to say anything, I instantly get shut down because she's busy chatting with her friends. Fine, I thought. Let's wait till the movie starts. The movie begins and I try to move a little bit closer to her, but she keeps moving away. So I just let it go. She then turns around and says something about the movie, which I can't remember. But a remark has to be made. This girl has never brushed her teeth. And I mean never. Her breath absolutely stank. I couldn't even look in her general direction while she was speaking. But this wasn't even the problem. A bit into the movie, this girl tells me she wants to say something. Now, what she told me next absolutely shocked me. She says that she's been doing something called shifting, where she transfers her consciousness into another reality and lives her life with other people. And currently, in her other reality, she's dating a Marvel character that she's deeply in love with and has been since she's 10. Now, at this point, the blood is rushing to my head. I have so many questions. Why did she agree to go on a date if she's already dating someone in her different reality? Why did she never bring this up? And the biggest thought of all, is this girl insane? I'm very off-put now and just lean the other direction and try to watch the movie while not seeming very upset. Keep in mind, I just got rejected by this catfish because she's dating a Marvel character in a different reality. I just want to finish this stupid date and leave. When the movie is finally over, I try to explain that I'm going to leave, but she says she's really hungry and wants to go for a bite, We go to a wings place. Why the fuck is this guy's still going? Anyway, we go to a wings place and she orders about 5 portions of wing. I just want to leave at this point, so I don't order anything. While we're waiting for her food, I ask her about her whole shifting thing. What she said next made me even more furious. Just to keep this as a bit of a conversation, what do you think she could have said to make him even more furious?
Is it like this reality is the worst reality?
No. Good guess, I suppose.
Yeah.
She says that she's been into shifting for 2 years and that she's deeply in love with this Marvel character. So I think that maybe she's able to somehow do this. And if so, I ask her how often she does it. This girl tells me that in the last 2 years, she's only managed to do it once. Yes, once. She had a 1-hour dream about a Marvel character, and now she apparently is dating him and loves him, and that's why she doesn't want me to get near her. This girl must be absolutely insane. But what happened next was the final straw. I didn't mention yet, but throughout the entire date, she's had a very bad cough, and I kept thinking maybe she's just asthmatic or something, so I ask her. She replies, "Oh no, I just have COVID." What? You're telling me this now? Unfortunately, it was too late for me to leave. I try to lean back and stay away from her to not catch her COVID. And the moment she's done eating, I thank her for the date, pay for the food, and jolt out of there.
It's stories like this that make me really appreciate having a partner.
Yeah, exactly. Because when you're desperate enough, you'll go through these things.
Yeah. I feel like the idea of like being single and dating is always theoretically more exciting than the reality of it, which is
romantic and fun and
awkward
whimsical
interactions and yeah.
Because sometimes you can pick up like really quickly that you're not compatible with the other person.
Yeah.
But out of politeness, you're like, I'm staying with this. This guy, I think, went next level though.
Yeah, going to the second location.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Honestly, I would be tempted to like, actually, I'd probably still be polite to stay through the movie, I think.
Yeah.
What if I liked the movie?
If it was a movie with the post-credit scenes, would you stay for the post-credit scenes? Or as soon as the credits roll, like, come on, let's get out of here.
Yeah.
I don't care what Doctor Strange does or whatever.
I think any hint that the movie might end there theoretically.
Yeah, you get it. Happily ever
leave
after.
It out. Yeah. Like just one of the like a cut to black that's a little bit longer than the other ones. You're like, oh, that's probably it. Let's go.
It's like they state what the time. Let's go and get that bad guy. Well, we know this is gonna go. They're gonna go get the bad guy.
They're gonna get the bad guy.
Let's beat the traffic.
Pretty self-explanatory, I think. Whoo, look at the time.
He'll say the bad guy will say we're not so different, you and I, and then they'll fight on the edge of a cliff. Let's go. Let's leave.
Yeah. But yeah, to go to the next location. You know what? I think actually I've kind of done this. I mean, the first part of the date wasn't terrible, but I was like, I'm not interested in this person. And then we went and like got a drink after the movie as well. I was like, oh, this is a waste of my life. I'm dying every second. I'm one step closer to the grave every second of my life, and this is what I'm doing. But this is.
They said today I fucked up, but I don't feel like they fucked up. Like they weren't to have known. You know what I mean? It's not there. I mean, maybe there were signs in the messaging or something, but like I don't think this is really on them.
Well,
except for the second location, obviously.
But there was also, right at the start, the idea that they looked completely different.
Yeah.
See, I would be tempted, even though I'm a very polite person, I think I would at very least be like, oh, hey, you don't look like anything like your picture. Even if I'm like, okay, I can appreciate that you don't need to be, somebody doesn't necessarily need to be super good looking to have a good relationship with somebody. And he's like, oh yeah, I enjoyed the conversations or whatever. But I think if it was that much of a difference, I'd be like, I think I've just got to ask. Even in just like, is this like...
I'm curious as to how in the picture she looked taller. That's such a specific one.
Yeah.
Like was she framing herself next to things? You're like, I understand the size of that.
Yeah, yeah.
So we had to be like, I assume she was 5'6", but she was 4'4".
Yeah.
That's such a weird specific one.
What probably happened is in one of her photos, she had just a banana sitting on the ground, and she said banana for reference of size. But
it's a small banana.
Small banana. Yeah. Yeah. I do that. I did that on my Tinder profiles.
Yeah, we know. You got banned for it.
Yeah. Yeah. I looked 8 foot in some of those with those tiny bananas. I had those lollies, banana lollies. No one could ever tell. Anyway, that sucks
Yeah, that does suck.
for this guy. 395. Here's another one. No, I'm not. Let's get into Ask Reddit.
Ask Reddit.
You really threw me off guard there. I had my guard down and everything.
Yeah. Don't let your guard down.
You didn't miss a beat in the intro.
Yeah.
I clearly have been slipping because normally my hand kind of rests along
Yeah,
here, but my hand was down by my side.
Yeah.
Never again.
Do you think it's going to be worse? Like, I feel at the moment. Okay.
Oh, it's a terrible episode.
We know that, like, we hate doing a podcast.
And we got a taste of freedom.
But yeah, now doing this one, I'm like, but like, we've had such a long time off. I didn't come in here hating my life.
Oh, right.
But like, maybe by next week.
Yeah.
Like,
and again,
that last episode was so terrible.
Eventually, it won't even be us and no one will know.
No one will know. So that'll be fine. Okay, anyway, this one is by Mummy XX1. What hasn't changed in the past 1,000 years?
I mean, a lot of things. The speed of light.
Oh, has it? How do you know?
Oh, no. Maybe it got slower. Back in my day, the speed of light was even quicker. But then this woke agenda. Oh, I tell you what.
Funny that you say that.
Okay.
Because mine is that generations will still complain about the older and younger generation in both ways.
Yeah.
To me, that would just happen to infinity.
Yeah.
There is no way,
Yeah.
unless we maybe somehow learn to live forever, we're all immortal, and we get to 10,000 years old, and we just become so wise that we're like, well,
it was Gen X.
They
were the ones.
It was still specifically a generation that screwed it up for everybody, but not like, the last generation to go through. We will know definitively which one it was.
Yeah. There was a funny thing with that, which was I don't remember where I saw this, but it was 3 Time magazine covers from over the generations.
Yeah.
Each of them with like a different generation on the cover. Mm-hmm. It was the Boomers, X, and Millennials. I don't think there's been one for Z yet, but each of them was like, ugh. This is the worst generation.
Yeah.
They're so self-absorbed. They're so selfish.
Yeah.
And the point of it was, maybe when you're young, you're just a bit more vain and selfish.
Yeah.
And when you get older, you grow out of it. And then when you get even older again, you start to be like a bit more selfish again.
Yeah.
That seems to be the pattern.
Yeah.
It's not to do with generations. It's to do with like aging as a person.
I have a question. What was I don't know, what's the generation before baby boomers?
The greatest generation?
Oh, yes.
I think.
Maybe.
Because they went through the wars and such.
Well, that was going to be my point, right? Is like, it's tough to argue with a generation that went through 2 world wars.
And this is why I think sometimes baby boomers get quite a bad rap. But I think for the most part, they avoided a lot of world conflicts.
Yeah.
So like they were too old for the war, and probably you might have got a few in Vietnam, possibly the latter end.
Yeah, that's probably true.
And then they had kind of not much, like maybe a Cold War, I guess. And then Gen X was more like the Iraq War.
Right, yeah.
So, like, my brother, for instance, he went over to Afghanistan and, like, that fucked him up, man. Like, it's not good. So they kind of had that, and then that bled over into our generation a little bit, and then obviously, like, economies collapsing and pandemics and stuff. But when, like, 40 years of your life has been pretty smooth sailing, I reckon most things are, like, a real inconvenience to you. Because there's no perspective to really bring it in. You know?
Exactly.
Like, well, this is actually the worst thing that's ever happened to me.
Yeah.
What do you mean interest rates are raised that high? On my second home.
Yeah, that's right. I think
I don't have that much evidence to back up my theory, by the way. That was just my pondering.
Yeah, just thoughts about it. I'm thinking we just have a war every now and again. Every generation.
Russia's trying.
Has one. Yeah, they are trying.
Guys, this is actually to help generations.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
Would you count a pandemic like this? Let's say the pandemic is like the Gen Z thing. Growing up in a pandemic. Would you count that as a character building thing?
No.
I'm sorry, guys.
Didn't go for long enough.
War or nothing.
I think. Yeah. If it went for way longer, if it was like a Black Plague level, then I think, you know, when a third of Europe dies, that's when you can say, okay, you've had it pretty rough. And
led into like the Dark Ages kind of thing.
Yeah.
Well, not the Dark Ages, but
you just being able to survive is a triumph. Yeah. And you are the greatest generation. Oh, that's how it happened.
Yeah. But they're probably going to be the one that's here when the world ends, I guess.
Yeah.
So they've got that.
They've got
that. Put that in their pocket. They've got that. They can take that home.
Yeah, that's true. I think the generation that, you know, is the last to exist before human species is extinct, they can blame every other generation.
Yeah. They're real blameless.
They're the only ones that can do it. Everybody else, no thank you.
Unless they point the nuke into the ground and fire or something.
Yeah.
Like they really did it to themselves.
Yeah. If they give up.
Yeah.
Basically. They're like, it's like world suicide. Everybody just agrees.
Stand it.
There's no coming back from this. It's getting worse. I mean, isn't that the point? I don't really know. There's obviously like different ways the world can end, you know. But let's say it's not about like it's something that, let's say it's global warming, for example. That, as far as I understand, be things like droughts, and so there's not enough food, starvation, blah blah blah. It's like a really slow process over a super long period of time.
I know this isn't a cheery topic of conversation, but extinction is like a fairly long event, unless it's like a meteor.
Yeah.
You would think like I think extinction would last probably more than one generation.
Yeah. And so that's why, you know, maybe one day they're like, look, it's literally going to get worse.
Just me and you here.
Let's just Newcastle.
Just me, you, and this nuclear bomb.
Yeah.
It's all that's left.
We've actually got thousands of them because everybody just left them here. All those generations, nobody fired one.
Yeah.
We could fire. Oh, actually, they did fire.
There's been a few.
There's been a few. But I reckon, wouldn't that be a fun way to end life? Literally send every nuke
to your location.
To your location. No, I think even them out around the world.
Okay.
See if you can, like in cartoons where the world like splits apart in lots of different pieces.
Right. Yeah, okay.
If you can manage to do that,
and if you can really spot your friend floating on a bit of rock out in space, like happens in cartoons.
Yeah. That'd be cool. That'd be the way to go. Okay, I have another one here. This one might have been... Oh, yeah. This one was cross-posted to us by Fizzy Me. But it was originally by... Oh, deleted. And it was in the subreddit polls. You have to choose one opponent to fight to the death. Whom do you choose? Your options are Elon Musk, Michelle Obama...
Oh, no, not with those arms.
Mark Zuckerberg, Scarlett Johansson, Vladimir Putin, Amber Heard.
I could take Zuckerberg for sure.
Yeah.
The rest of them, look, I'm very comfortable in my masculinity.
Yeah.
Michelle Obama, those fucking arms, man. Like, she's a fit woman. She'll destroy me.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that the person's probably put that in there because they're like, oh, she's like such a charming person. You wouldn't want to fight her to that. No,
I'm scared of it. I'm legitimately scared of it.
Yeah.
She tried to stop all those fat kids existing because she's like, fitness forever.
Yeah.
Like, no.
Yeah.
Zuckerberg, I reckon I could take.
Yeah, I think
who else do we have there?
I imagine that if I punched Mark Zuckerberg once,
He'd be fetal position. And then you just kick him for a while.
I just thought he would crumble into a few different pieces.
I reckon he'd just like flop like an inflatable man. It's been de-inflated. Like,
yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just seems like that kind of a guy.
Yeah. So who else was on
Scarlett
the list?
Johansson?
No way. She's going to do that leg thing around my head and flip me over.
Yeah. That wasn't even scripted.
Yeah. Someone said something to her. She's like, that's it.
Yeah.
I'm doing the leg thing.
And they were like, keep that in the movie. That was cool.
Yeah, no, she plays a superhero. She's clearly very in shape. Not going to happen.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Vladimir Putin?
Nah. Have you seen that picture of him on the horse?
His
shirt off on a horse?
Yeah, I have seen that.
Yeah. Look, I don't agree with him politically.
Yeah.
But I understand that he's tougher than me.
Also, he's like a black belt in Taekwondo or something, right? Or karate or something.
Yes, but...
He paid enough people to say that he was a black belt.
Either way,
he absolutely seems like the person that would dedicate time to becoming a black belt.
He seems like the worst case scenario of what Dwight Schrute would become. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah, no, he would destroy me. Like literally, he would have me killed.
Yeah. He would kill you, and then just in case, he would have 20 other guys shoot you.
Yeah.
Until you're definitely dead.
Yeah, and Amber Heard, we're gonna have to wait and see with the outcome of this lawsuit and whether or not I think I could take her.
Yeah.
Seems like she might be quite the fighter.
Yeah. You think she is?
Yeah. Musk, do you reckon you could take on Musk? I reckon Musk, he'll do all right. Like he doesn't seem as dweeby as Zuckerberg.
Yeah.
But he also doesn't seem like super tough. You know what I mean? But I think that means he and I would be like matched. That would be a fair fight, probably.
Yeah, maybe that's true. See, part of me thinks that Elon Musk, if I punched him, he could be the type of guy that just starts crying.
Remember, he's South African.
Yeah.
They've been through some shit in that country.
Yeah.
Depending, I don't know where from South Africa he's from. I'm assuming not like the bad parts of Johannesburg or something.
Well, yeah, I was going to say, didn't he have an extremely rich dad? I don't think he went through any suffrage in his life.
If it was like a man from the streets of South Africa, I wouldn't bet against, like I wouldn't bet on me.
Yeah.
He'd destroy me. See, South Africa can be quite a tough nation in certain places, but I don't think Elon grew up there.
See, that's why I think that my theory holds up. That if I punched him, he would just cry, bawl his eyes out.
He'd tweet about you.
He would tweet instantly and just be like, it wasn't a fair fight or something,
And he's a pedophile.
And he's I would definitely be called a pedophile from Elon Musk if I punched him.
Yeah.
But just that he would break down, he's had this security blanket around him his whole life, which is all his money and
or I don't know if you've seen the movie Upgrade, where the guy has the chip in him that takes over his body, and then he's really good at fighting.
Oh,
Elon might have that.
He definitely could have that. Yeah.
That's why he's working on that link.
Yeah, he is a Iron Man-esque kind of person. Isn't he?
He thinks
a Tony Stark. It wouldn't be surprised if you get into a fight and he presses a button and his suit surrounds him, and you're like, oh,
damn it.
This
again, like I said, Vladimir Putin is the worst case scenario of a Dwight Schrute. He's the depressing realization of that's what Tony Stark would be like.
Yeah.
Just some rich asshole.
But before he's turn into be a nice person.
Yeah. If Elon spends a month in a cave,
oh my god, guys, let's do that.
Let's Iron Man him.
Let's. Yeah, I like the term Iron Man in here.
Yeah.
Different to the Iron Man competition in Australia.
Yeah.
That's different and could make him worse. He'd be stronger.
Yeah, he'd be stronger. Then we would never win.
No, we lock him in a cave.
So we're thinking we can take Musk. Don't like my chances against Michelle. Unless I played real dirty or something, through sand in her eye or something.
And look, I'm willing to play dirty.
Yeah.
Mark Zuckerberg, we think we could
Zuckerberg, I could fucking paste it.
He's potentially the easiest one, I think. He's the type of guy that would, when you start the fight, his fists would be the wrong way.
Yeah.
Like they're, vertical and his fingers towards himself, kind of in a fist. That's the type of guy I imagine I'm fighting.
Yeah.
And,
What if you had to verse him in the metaverse?
Ooh.
Not a chance.
He controls everything. Yeah.
Okay, so who's the most... I reckon Zuckerberg's the most popular choice, if I had to guess who's the most popular.
Yeah, okay, yeah, going through your notes. Okay, you think Mark Zuckerberg? Incorrect. Second highest.
Oh, wait, no, it's not even who you'd win, it's who you'd fight, isn't it?
You have to choose one person. Yeah, because I think... Well, I guess the idea is like, you're meant to be balancing, could I actually take this person... versus, well, they're too nice for me to...
Yeah.
I'm assuming that's why Michelle Obama and Scarlett Johansson are in there, is because they're actually very nice people and, maybe you don't want to fight them, even though you feel as though you could take them on. Mm-hmm. But people are underestimating Michelle Obama, let's be honest. Yeah. And Scarlett Johansson, I'm sure.
Both incredibly fit women.
Yeah. But anyway, so yeah, what do you think? Not Mark Zuckerberg. He's in second place.
Musk.
No.
Really?
I thought
Putin.
Putin is in third place.
Really? The guy that's doing a war right now
Yeah.
is in third.
Yeah.
It's Amber Heard, isn't it?
It is Amber Heard.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
I guess people are thinking shit person plus I could probably take her.
Yep.
I guess is the combination. I'm surprised.
I don't think people could take her.
Putin. Yeah, she will throw something at you and cut your finger up.
Yeah, I am in a I would say strange position with the Amber Heard Johnny Depp situation because people are either I'm Team Johnny, or people saying I'm Team Amber.
Yes.
I'm Team neither of them.
Oh yes, absolutely.
I think they're both bad.
Ellen and I had this conversation while we were in Spain one night.
Yeah.
We were just like, all right, we've seen enough posts about all this shit. We're like, we got to talk about it. And we instantly like, neither of them are good people.
No.
I think this is good for Johnny Depp because I think nobody knew that Amber Heard was necessarily this sort of vile, manipulative person, right? So, but it doesn't absolve him.
No.
It's good.
He's quite clearly like a very controlling, kind of manipulative person.
Yeah. It's like they're just both shit people.
Yeah, he gaslit her and she hit him a bunch, and it's awful. Like, it sucks that it happened. But I'm not on either of their sides.
Yeah, I find it so.
Though in the court case, he is far more charming.
Yeah, exactly.
Got to give him that.
Yeah, he is. But yeah, it's disturbing all the posts on Reddit actually that are so pro Johnny Depp now that it's like, it really shouldn't be. Like, it's like, yes, we now know Amber Heard is a shit person.
Yes.
But let's not absolve Johnny Depp of his shit things. But it'll be interesting to see what happens to his career. I'm interested to know if he will actually get roles again.
I reckon it'll be like a Mel Gibson style thing where he's still in stuff,
but not really.
He's not in a huge Marvel movie or anything, is he?
I don't know.
He might appear in a Daddy's Home every now and then.
The only thing is the way that the internet is going.
Yeah, that's true.
They're so pro him at the moment, or at least that's what it looks like. It'll be interesting to see whether a producer takes a shot at going, okay, we're going to full-blown give him like a starring role in something.
Yeah.
And then to see if it gets totally shut down because there is a voice of people, they kind of agree with us. And like, well, he's still a bad person and whatnot. But
yeah, as obviously we live in Australia, some of the Pirates of the Caribbean have been filmed here, I think the last two. And even just like being tangentially connected to people that work in film, the stories of him on set are like, again, not abusive, but not good.
Yeah.
Like drunk all the time and not knowing his lines, and it's pretty bad.
It would also be interesting to know if he now feels as though he has to actually change his personality now. like, because he knows that he can't get away with it. Like, the instant he fucks up in the future, it's going to be everywhere.
Yeah.
So I wonder, it would be interesting to know if this actually does change him.
Only time will tell.
Yeah. It's almost like how they say prison will reform people. You know? It's like he's been in Hollywood prison.
Yeah, he's in rich person prison, which is like you still live your wonderful life.
Yeah.
But there's some like social consequences.
Yeah, but hopefully by the end of it you're reformed.
You might not get to go to the Vanity Fair after Oscars parties.
Yeah.
Him and Will Smith are in rich people prison.
Yeah. Anyway, here I'll tell you in order from least to most votes.
Yeah.
Least votes, Scarlett Johansson.
Okay.
That with 406. Then Michelle Obama, 702. Elon Musk, 763. Vladimir Putin, 1,000 votes. Mark Zuckerberg, 1.9 thousand. Amber Heard, 2.5 thousand.
Jeez, fair enough. She got more than double the second, so.
Yeah. That's,
I think people are overestimating their own potential there.
Yeah. That's true. All right, let's get into Today I Learned advice.
So now it's time for Today I Learned. Hopefully these turns that.
Today I learned.
And also sometimes advice.
Flawless.
I will say you started flawless at the start of this episode. Slowly it's unraveling, isn't it?
It's slipping. Also, because I've only got one Today I Learned.
Yeah. Should I get ready for the next one?
Get ready for
Okay.
it, because honestly, I don't...
Do you want me to just play it now? Skip it.
We're going pretty long. Okay. This was by Streetwise84. Today I learned in 2011, a 29-year-old Australian bartender found an ATM glitch that allowed him to withdraw way beyond his balance. In a bender that lasted 4.5 months, he managed to spend around 1.6 million of the bank's money.
Jesus.
That's a lot of money to spend in 4.5 months.
Yeah.
Don't you think that's really hard?
Yeah. Especially on like a bender.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, obviously the alcohol prices here are pretty steep because we tax alcohol. But
Yeah.
even so.
$1 million purely just on alcohol.
Yeah. He's obviously getting premixes.
I'm impressed that he was able to withdraw 1.6 million from an ATM or ATMs. I imagine.
Want to know, how did he discover he could withdraw more than his bank account? Because I never would have thought to try it. You know what I mean?
Also, I think,
say it's like, oh, you've got $1,000 in your account. You go, I'll try 1,200.
Yeah.
Like, where did it get to the point where he's like, wait a minute?
I guess maybe one day he was like, oh, I'm pretty sure I've got like at least 100. I need 100 for something, and then withdrew it, got the money out, and then only later realized,
oh, I didn't have that.
Oh, I didn't even have $100. I guess.
Yeah, I guess so. And yeah, was it one ATM that was glitching, or were all the ATMs glitching?
I'm assuming that, because he said he spent 1.6 of the bank's money, so I'm actually assuming it was just one bank and their ATMs were allowing him to do that. Or maybe it was their system, but all ATMs allowed him to draw more, because obviously it's contacting the bank or something to some degree. But that's like, because I guess the whole thing was like, it just didn't put him in negative, which is why he kept doing it, I suppose. I would have been so scared. I'm too much of a logical person, I think, to be like, well, this is going to catch up with me one day.
Yeah.
Like,
there was a story on, I think it was on the Hamish and Andy show, like years and years ago. One of those, Andy, he said he went to an ATM once and he took out like $20, but the ATM was doing this weird thing where it would give you two notes.
Right.
So he said 20 and it gave him two 20s like on top of each other.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh my God. So then he's like, all right, 200. And then he gave him like 400. He's like, all right, I'll stop.
Yeah.
And then he got a phone call from the bank being like, was there like a glitch? Do you have too much money? He's like, no, I don't remember that. And they're like, we just have this video of you from the ATM where you get out money and then you come back to the ATM and immediately get out more money. And he's like, oh, yeah. No. But like, he clearly was like, he did it once. He's like, oh, this is...
I would have just pretended. I'd be like, oh, no, I just remembered I needed more money.
Well, what if they have the video of you like looking at the thing or looking back at the screen, looking at your thing, going,
Well, funnily enough, I remember a story. It was a pub next to the cinema that we used to work at, and they used to have an ATM there, and they took it out once, and some people complained, and I happened to know one of the guys at the time we were talking about it. He said they took it out because they had to actually fill up the machine themselves with money. So there wasn't like an Armaguard bank thing, you know. And they said because the notes would get like beer and sticky liquor on them and stuff like that occasionally the machine would pop out too much money.
Oh, wow.
And they were like, it was actually costing us money to have this ATM there. So, so they got getting rid of it. I do think, though, so I would kind of be paranoid that, like, okay, it's going to catch up with me, right? Yeah. I'm going to have to pay this money back.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I would be like, but I think if I withdrew as much money as possible, let's say I knew ahead of time, which probably this guy didn't, and you would theoretically never know. Let's say you knew that you could get $1.6 million out. I'd be like, I'm going to invest that instantly in something super safe, maybe even just interest from the bank, you know, open up another bank account with a different bank and just put all the money in there and just hope to accumulate interest until they're like, hey, you've been stealing money from us. And you go, okay, here's the original amount back to the cent. And then hopefully keep whatever you've earned over that time, you know? Because I think there would be something to say if they took you to court or whatever, because they would probably want to try and claim back the interest as well on that money.
Because that's how banks make money.
Yeah. But I think that you could be like, well, if you maybe took this to court, you could be like, well, your system's stuffed up. I've now paid back exactly how much I took out. Let's call it even, you know.
In a way, I just minded that $1.6 million for you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You owe me money.
It's like an account fee, like you charge me.
Yeah, that's right. My account fee is triple what you put in. But I could imagine a judge being like, you know, agreeing to those terms. Like, yeah, that's fine.
How ignorant could you plead? Be like, I thought I had 1.6 in there.
Yeah.
I have 1.6 million in there, and I've taken my 1.6 million.
Yeah.
To put into the bank account for a while. Was that your 1.6?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I'll give that back.
Yeah.
My 1.6 must be in another bank.
Yeah,
that's where it was. I got my banks mixed up. That's real embarrassing.
How
much do I have in there? Nothing.
Whoa. Whoa.
Because you know what that looks like, don't you?
Looks like I
didn't have the 1.6 million to begin with. Looks like I exploded the bank trying to make a quick buck. And that's not true.
Because I thought I had it. I definitely thought I had it somewhere. Anyway, yeah, that probably held up.
Yeah. It's what you're working on there is the judge to give you, but he seems like a good guy to face. He seems like a guy. He seems like he made an honest mistake.
Look at that just an honest mishap.
He called me chief when he came into the court. Hey, g'day, chief. How are you? Big fan of your judging. Love it.
Oh, that's how you get a judge on your side. When you say I'm a big fan of your judging.
And look, even if it doesn't go my way, I'll respect it. I love you. I love your work.
Yeah.
I think you look great.
Yeah.
Have you lost weight?
Yeah.
Anyway, not guilty is my plea.
Also, found this $100 note on there straight outside. Thought you might want it.
Did you drop this?
Hey, just by the way, if you say there's no problem here, there's 1.6 million in it for
you. Because, not to give away my sauce, but I know where to get it. If you just give me a small investment of 1.6 million, I can put it somewhere and give you like I'll return you the original 1.6 million plus a little bit of profit on top of that.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, let's get into shower thoughts.
Shower thoughts, shower thoughts, shower thoughts, shower thoughts.
This shower thought is by Navish Fob. Based on how much you can bond with someone by hating the same thing, a dating app based on dislikes would probably be fairly successful.
What a depressing date that would be, though.
Yeah. Do you know what, though?
Some people would enjoy it, I think.
I think that's the thing. I think a lot of people wouldn't. I think this would be a minority, but like a decent minority that's like, I love just ragging on people and doing something. It reminds me actually of this one time, right? I was at a wedding and I knew one other guy out of the like main group of friends that I knew.
Yeah.
And he had his own other group of friends that he knew.
Yeah.
And they all wanted a photo together. So he came up, he's like, oh, hey, can you take a photo of all? I was like, oh, yeah, no worries. And so just having a little bit of a joke, Cambo. I said, all right, look pretty. No, look pretty.
Yeah,
hilarious joke. Everyone, you can have that one for free. All right. And what was so funny is like, you know, I'm not expecting hilarious laughter, just like a yeah, you know, bit of an eye roll dad joke kind of a thing. And everyone did that except two people that were a couple, this guy and girl that were just like so angry at like how bad that joke was. That they were like, oh my God, I can't. Like their eye roll was like, it was actually painful to them, whereas everybody else had a bit of a giggle. And I was like, those people are made for each other. It was the first thought I wasn't like insulted that they were, but I was like, you two should get married now.
Yeah.
We'll cancel this one. You guys get up there because that's just that you obviously like bond together so well with the like hatred of other things.
Yeah. Stacey and I have this in the specific field of like movies.
Yeah.
Where like we're movie cynics and like we love them. Don't get me wrong, we love movies, but we also love like trashing movies. Like we find it quite fun.
Yeah.
And I remember I had the realization there was a Netflix movie a while ago called The Atom Project.
Yeah.
And we both watched it and we're like, oh, this is trash. Like what a piece of shit film.
Yeah.
And then everyone loved it so much. And I was like, oh, we're like the only two.
Yeah.
That thought this was garbage, but we both like totally agreed with each other. You know?
Yeah. Was that the one where goes back in time or something? What's that one?
Yeah. He goes back in time, meets his younger self.
Yeah, I thought it was fine.
Yeah, everyone did. Everyone quite liked it.
I'm surprised that, like, I'm saying I thought it was fine, but I think every movie is fine.
Yeah.
So, but I'm surprised that more people didn't hate it.
Yeah,
because it's fine, but it's just fine.
It took me by surprise as well. But people were like, "Oh, I cried in it. It was so nostalgic."
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, I thought that kid was fucking annoying.
That's weird.
Because like obviously Ryan Reynolds has his shtick, right? Where he's like quite sarcastic and whatever.
Ryan Reynolds playing Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah. Which, by the way, starting to get a little bit tired of at this point now.
Like, I know.
That was the movie where I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
But then when they try and make a kid do it, you're like, this kid's the worst.
Yeah. That's true.
Anyway, a lot of people like that movie that I'm trashing on now.
How many more movies do you think Ryan Reynolds can play Ryan Reynolds in?
He did it in that one. I was like, no, this is it.
Yeah, no. How many more do you think he's got in?
People love it though.
Like, that's all. Yeah. Oh, sorry. You're saying that's the last one.
For me, I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I get it.
I think for larger audiences, he's
got
another 3.
Yeah.
I think
he can do as many as he wants because then eventually he'll be like, I'm doing Deadpool again. Everyone's like, yay! Do you know he was almost cast as Nathan Drake? What do you think of that casting?
Well,
from the Uncharted games, for those unaware.
Just by the way, watch that on the plane on the way over.
So, it's fine.
Quite nice. Yeah, I liked it. I was surprised that I think a lot of people didn't quite like it. And I think that was actually people...
I think the critics didn't like it. I think people generally were like, yeah, it was all right.
Oh, okay. I thought there was a community of like video game players.
Oh, yeah.
That were like,
I'm sure there is.
That's not Sully.
Yeah.
You know,
and
which it's true.
It's true. It's not.
It's not. But yeah, I thought it was a good movie.
Yeah.
A bit of fun.
Yeah. I've been looking, obviously, because I do... Cancel Movie Report comes back this week.
Oh!
That's what it just spurred me. Not in this season, but we've been looking into. There's a couple of cancelled Uncharted movies.
Yeah,
and the casting is always really interesting.
Right. Yes.
So Mark Wahlberg was originally cast as Nathan Drake.
Right.
And Sully was cast as Robert De Niro. Whereas like and like the pitch of it sounds like way different.
Right.
It's like it's an art heist and it's a crime family and it's like, that doesn't sound like Uncharted at all.
Yeah.
And then that turned into another one where Ryan Reynolds was cast as Nathan Drake and Sully was Bryan Cranston, which I'm like, oh, that's good.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
And I'm like, I'd
love to see Bryan Cranston in something like that.
And like Ryan Reynolds does have that sarcastic charm to him, which I think Nathan Drake has a bit. He's a bit too quippy.
Yeah.
But it fits pretty well.
What I thought was interesting, actually, is I think Tom Holland looked the part of Nathan Drake, but for me, he didn't
act it.
Yeah. He was a different character, is what I felt. Again, pretty much generally liked the movie, but I can understand video game players, people that love the series, being like, this wasn't Uncharted. This was just like a spin-off of Indiana Jones or something. It could very easily be the same. But anyway, yeah. Ryan Reynolds playing Ryan Reynolds in an Uncharted film.
Which is what he would do.
Yeah. Fine, I suppose. Anywho, that was only one.
You want to do another one?
Well, no.
Okay.
No, he's okay. We'll move on, but I'll say this other point.
Yep.
About a dating app hating the same thing.
Okay.
I think what would be interesting is like, if one of the things that I put on that dating app is like podcasting, hate podcasting, and somebody might get that confused with podcasters, and then we'd match. And then they'd be really upset that I have a podcast when I'm like, no, I really hate it. And they're like, well, I hate podcasts. How did this happen? Like,
what if,
can't tell you.
If you went more specific, you're like, I hate doing the Reddit on Reddit podcast. So I hate you like, well, the Reddit on Reddit podcast. And they're like, I also hate the Reddit on Reddit podcast. And then they realize you're the guy.
But it would be a great relationship.
Like, don't look at me. I fucking hate it.
We both hate it. So it's fine. Okay, anyway, let's get into podnapping.
Oh my God, I'm being podnapped.
Podnapping.
This is Podnapping, where we nap a pod. We take a topic of conversation or a segment from another thing, or we make up topics of conversation ourselves and do it. How do I end that?
And do it ourselves.
And do it ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah. Here's the thing.
Yeah.
I've been away for a while. And
like
so
a
I
month
haven't
overseas-ish.
Yeah. It was exactly a month. From 29th to the 29th.
Just wait. Yeah, that is a month. Yeah, sorry. I just had to check. Put this calculator away.
So I didn't really have time to do a podnapping.
No, a classic excuse.
It actually, that was a bad excuse, because that makes it seem like I haven't crammed in the few hours before we've started the podcast to get a podnapping before.
Because you got home on the 29th.
Yeah.
I'm just checking the days, the 30th now, so that's a day.
Yeah. Technically, more hours than I've had in the past to create a podnapping. Anyway, so what I'm doing for my podnapping is the topic of conversation is Spain/Portugal.
Okay.
And me being the gentleman, I'll let you go first.
Okay. Spain.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't rate it. And here's the thing about Spain. I hate to hear stories about it.
Oh, yeah.
Topped only by Portugal.
Oh, okay.
So I've made a vow that I'll physically assault any that try and tell me tales of them.
Okay. Yeah.
Cool. Because, you know, like the Spanish had that. Didn't they have like an armada that caused terror, like in the 15th century?
Spanish Inquisition?
That as well. Yeah. I haven't forgiven them. So I'm still pretty angry about that.
Yes. Me too.
Yeah.
Campo, which is why I didn't go to Spain.
Oh, okay.
Or Portugal. Yeah. Went to Italy.
Okay.
But if I slip up and accidentally name Spanish towns or cities, instead of the Italian ones,
I actually cracked on Mike. I was impressed by that.
Instead of the Italian cities that I definitely went to.
Start with Venice.
Just an accident.
How was Venice?
Venice is kind of like Barcelona.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So we flew into Barcelona. Venice. So I'm just going to talk about my trip, just so everybody knows. That's it. Is that good podnapping? No. Write in. Don't write in.
When is
I don't want to know.
When has it being a good podnapping ever stopped us in the past?
Yeah, that's true.
Remember we did like a month of BuzzFeed quizzes?
Yeah.
And I'm not opposed to not bringing it back, so.
I'm looking forward to bringing that
What
up
Disney
in
character
2
am
weeks'
I?
time. So anyway, started the trip. Went to Barcelona. Flew into Barcelona.
Yep.
And I'm going to say, for people that are interested to go to Spain, I wasn't a big fan of Barcelona.
Okay.
To me, there was something about... Okay, this is what I think Barcelona did. It made me actually appreciate Melbourne a little bit more. Okay, don't get me wrong.
Because of the coffee.
Camo,
No. You've gone for Melbourne.
You joke, and that wasn't one of the things I was going to bring up now.
Yeah.
But in general,
Yeah.
all over Europe, all over Spain, all over Portugal, that's not all over Europe, I suppose. 2 countries in Europe. All over Spain and Portugal, absolutely terrible coffee.
Right.
Like, I don't even like to think I'm a coffee snob.
Well, because I've been led to believe, just to defend the rest of Europe,
Yeah.
isn't Italy well known for quite a coffee culture?
Well, that's right. And I'm like, it confuses me. And I'm like, there is something wrong. Like, it is absolutely terribly made. Like, it tastes bad. I'm like, how are they getting it so wrong when they're near these other countries that are known potentially for their coffee?
To be fair, Melbourne here in Australia normally seen as like quite a cultural, artsy city, but we're pretty close to Adelaide, and that's trash. Yeah, so you know,
yeah, good point.
yeah. You can't- geography doesn't necessarily mean quality.
That's right. But yeah, it was genuinely so surprising. What I found interesting and what I thought maybe it made something clearer in my head, right? One day we got a coffee from a Starbucks in Portugal.
Yeah.
And at the start, okay, turns out their soy milk, and I've had this experience in America too, soy milk is sweetened.
Yeah.
It's really sweet.
Yeah.
Which to me is gross. But otherwise, it was the best coffee we had probably on the trip in a Starbucks. And I was like, this is why it makes sense that Starbucks in Melbourne or in Australia failed miserably, is because they're considered, and I'm jumping to conclusions here, but probably the best type of coffee in other parts of the world.
Yeah.
But in Australia, it's like, no, that's just shit coffee. That's really bad. And so I just thought that was interesting. It like opened up my mind to be like, oh, that's why Starbucks is so,
Do you know in Australia, at least based around a couple of people, because I'm not a coffee drinker,
Yeah.
a couple of people that I've talked to, as far as like shit coffees,
Yeah.
you know which shit coffee actually tends to, people are like, oh, that's all right actually.
Yeah.
7-Eleven.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So because they're like it's like $1 or something.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
like it's from a machine or whatever. But
Yeah.
I've had a few people go like, it's not bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's obviously not as good as, you know, you spend $5 on some fancy coffee from some Laneway cafe or whatever. But they're like, it's not bad.
Yeah. I actually think 7-Eleven is such a genius business. I spoke to somebody who used to work there, and they're pretty high up, I think, and they were talking about how their whole business, not their whole business, but a large portion of their business actually rolls around their Slurpees.
Oh, okay.
Like, they make the most money off their Slurpees.
Makes sense. It's just ice and syrup.
Yeah. Like,
Similar to like,
like-
if you ever learn how cheap a popcorn is to make at a cinema,
Yeah.
you'd never pay how much they charge.
Yeah, exactly. It's like 10,000%.
Yeah. It's well over 1,000% markup. Yeah.
And so I think they're genius for the same, and I think they've done the coffee for the same reason. They're like, we're just going to try and nail this, you know, get a coffee machine, build one that's actually going to give it good coffee, spend the right money on beans and stuff, and we'll make a killing off of it, sort of thing. Anyway, that was quite a big digression.
This is all Spain, yeah?
This is 7-Eleven in Spain. Anyway, the coffee there, terrible.
Yeah.
But no, and what Barcelona made me appreciate in Melbourne, I think, was that we're a really clean city.
Okay.
And not all places that I went in Spain and Portugal were that dirty, but Barcelona, I felt, was like
Pretty dirty,
pretty kind of gross in parts. And it's just because I think their infrastructure is so old. So, you know, like their sewers and stuff are just ancient, basically. And so you get kind of gross smells and stuff walking around, and all the walls are really dirty and stuff because there's no space to like clean and lots of tiny streets and yada yada. And if you see urine on the ground, I was going to say if you see water on the ground, it's actually dog urine because there's quite a lot of dogs and stuff, no grass anywhere, literally nowhere. And so they just pee on the ground because, that's all they can do. And they poop on the ground too, but it seems like people were pretty good at picking it up afterwards. So I felt sorry for the dogs over there, honestly. Like a lot of cities we went, there's no grass, and the dog's like, they'll be catching a ball.
What do they do zoomies on?
Yeah, just on the concrete. Can you believe that?
Zoomies on the concrete never as good.
Yeah. But in saying that, still some amazing architecture in Barcelona. So we were in the Gothic district. That's where we stayed.
Sick.
And that's like, sounds cool, right?
Punk rock.
Yeah. Which is such an interesting part of Barcelona. There's a couple of cathedrals, and which were really amazing. There's also Sagrada Familia, which was started by the architect Gaudi, and God, I hope I'm getting these names right. And what I found was interesting, right? We actually went to another cathedral. And it was basically like the peasants' cathedral. They built it themselves.
Did you fit right in?
Shit, I did actually. I walked in and they're like, have you been here before?
It's like a statue of you. It's Nelson.
So obviously there was like the rich one for like the king and queen or, the nobility. And then the peasants had to like create their own. And they created it in 50 years. And it was amazing, like super high ceilings, stereotypical cathedral type domed roofs, very, pretty looking, pretty cool looking. And they made it in 50 years. And that was like an astounding achievement at that time. And the Sagrada Familia, God, again, I really hope I got that name right, has been in the works for 150 years and it's still being constructed. And I was like, how is it still going? We have advanced so, like, it's an amazing bit. It's far more intricate and interesting than the peasant cathedral. But I'm still like, that's nuts. It's still taking so long to build it. We've got cranes and shit. Like, come on.
We knock one of these episodes out a week. Yeah. So, come on.
Yeah, surely you could build a cathedral. And
what you do, you set aside like 2 hours on a Monday and you just do it.
Yeah. But that was really amazing. Super interesting building. It was also depressing being in Barcelona because we went on a walking tour and they were like, in this area, Catholics killed a bunch of people. Oh, and around this corner, Catholics killed a whole bunch of other people. But what's really interesting about this part is Catholics, they killed a lot of Jewish people.
Yeah. You see all these live people in this section? Not if the Catholics are around. Much.
Oh boy, the Catholics would
Catholics would say a thing or two about these people.
Yeah.
Now this one's quite ironic because Catholics actually killed other Catholics here.
Yeah. It was so interesting though, and it made me like realize that part of why Catholicism is so huge is not because they were like
the best one.
Not because they like convinced people that
they convinced people.
God, good way to put it. Yeah. It's like, well, they literally just murdered the competition until they were totally the dominant religion.
Do you believe in Jesus or do you have to chop your head off?
Yeah.
I believe in Jesus.
Yeah,
it's good.
Yeah.
I might kill you anyway.
And that's literally what it was. Yeah. There was literally a point where they asked people, do you believe in Jesus? If you don't, or in God, if you don't, you will die.
Do you reckon, when the Christians used to be fed to the lions in the Colosseum?
Yeah.
Do you reckon they're like, one day we're going to get everyone back for this? They'll be so annoyed that they did this to us. Who? I don't know, just everyone. Yeah. Just everyone.
Just kill it. Literally, let's just kill everyone. Here's an interesting fact I also learned. So at the time of the Black Plague, there were, in Europe in general, 8 in 10 people were dying of the plague. But in the Jewish community, only 1 in 10 people are dying, which is an extraordinary difference, right? And the reason with that is because as part of their faith, they had to wash their hands before and after meals. So it was a hygiene thing, right? Yeah. And you would think at that time, right, not really understanding hygiene. In fact, they even told us that like the nobility would wash themselves once a year, I think. And the king and queen would do it, I think, 3 times a year. Mm-hmm. You know, they were a little bit more special. But it's just so interesting to think that, sorry, what happened was the Catholics, classic Catholics, they said, you must be the cause of the plague because you, in general, all of you are fine. Yeah. And so tons of Jews got killed. Yeah. And I was like, that blows my mind, because if you really, really actually believed in God and you weren't using religion for power, they were using religion for power. Then you would be like, oh my God, their religion,
they're the chosen ones,
is the one to follow. You know, like less than, because obviously it wasn't this idea of hygiene, that must be the reason why. It was like you would think, you'd be like, they must have the right religion. God is rewarding them. Yeah. And but no, they all got killed anyway.
Yeah.
So
classic Catholics.
Yeah.
Isn't it extraordinary the difference hygiene makes? I remember there was a hospital that did an audit on hygiene. Yeah. And they implemented further. They found that some people weren't like washing their hands for long enough and certain things like that in their audit. And they made sure they implemented everything to the letter, like quite strictly. Yeah. And mortalities went down like 35%.
Yeah. Yeah. It's nuts. Yeah. It's so interesting. And so it almost made me feel like dirty going into churches. Honestly, for the rest of the trip, I was so much more put off because I was just like, the Catholics were murderers. Yeah. Like it was genocide.
Head of the Crusades.
And you go into these cathedrals and you're like, oh, so pretty. Yes, it's built with the blood of many innocent lives. You know, it was like, there was just something really off-putting. Obviously, we still went to every cathedral because...
It's so pretty.
2 reasons. 1, incredibly pretty. 2, I'm not risking going to hell camp.
There's a 1% chance that this Catholic is right. I'll tell you what.
I don't want to,
you did the little cross and you went in and like, you never know.
Yeah, that's right. I said a prayer every time I went in.
You're like, dear God, I'll kill anyone if you want me to. I'm totally on board for this.
Yeah. Or not. I'm not sure.
Or not. Yeah. You tell me.
Let me know. But yeah, so that was Barcelona. I mean, it was still really great. City in lots of ways, but not my favorite.
Are you going to save each city for a different podnapping, Nelson?
Oh, I could. No, I'm going to breeze through this. Okay. Let's be honest. I've been going already too long. Here's just a quick point. Yep. Tapas are brilliant. Yep. Tapas, for anybody who doesn't know, lots of different things for dinner. Different like cooked little platters things. You might have like 2 or 3 croquettes or something. You share stuff. Brilliant. The world should just start doing this. Nobody wants once you've had tapas pretty much consistently for a month, you're like, why would I ever want just one big meal again?
The only problem I have with tapas is if you eat it too much, Catholics will kill you.
Yeah. That's true. But funnily enough, if you don't eat enough, they will kill you.
Yeah. You need to eat the right amount of tapas.
So tapas are brilliant. Yeah. We then flew to Portugal, in Porto. I was sick. That sucked. Here's a fun little fact about Porto that I learned. So they are producers of port wine or fortified wine is the other term. And I think it's like champagne, actually. I never knew before, but I actually think it's like, champagne is only made in Champagne. Everything else is sparkling wine. Yeah. I think port is only made in Porto. And everything else is fortified wine.
Where's Portello made?
I think Portello in Portello.
Yeah, probably right. And everything else is just sparkling purple goo. What is Portello? What's that flavor?
I don't know. But anyway, slightly interesting fact about that was, and I might get the countries wrong here, but England.
They normally do some bad stuff if that's what you're thinking of.
No, it's not that bad. Well,
it probably wasn't England then.
They were like, hey, we want some wine from you, Portugal, because we're maybe at war with another country that we used to get wine from. I don't remember that detail, but like that sounds right.
Yeah.
And they tried the wine in Portugal and they were like, this is suitable for our country. We'll get it from you. And so Portugal had a big trade of wine. And how it started was they were like, well, how do we get this wine over there? Because they sent one batch over. And by the time it got to England, it was basically vinegar. And so they're like, well, this is no good. And they said, well, what we'll do is we will start the wine process. Can't remember what it's called. Like brewing process.
Yeah, fermenting.
Fermenting.
Yeah.
Let's go with that. Yeah, I think that's right. And at some point in the winemaking process, you add alcohol, 100% alcohol. And it stops the fermentation process, and then you have wine, basically. And so, like, okay, well, we'll start this on the ships, and then during their journey, for 10 days into their journey or something, we will put in the alcohol, and by the time they're there, it's like made and ready, you know. But they screwed up on the boat, and they put in the alcohol way too early, like 3 days into the trip. And so when it got to England, it was really sweet because the natural fermentation process hadn't kind of like...
completed.
Yeah, hadn't completed, hadn't started dissolving the sugars or whatever into alcohol. And then they add the alcohol, so it killed all the bacteria. So it was still really alcoholic, but really sweet. And that's how port wine came into it. And I just thought, that's so interesting. One of those like accidental, creations that happen. So, just a little fun fact there for you and everyone. Porto was a pretty nice place. Then we went to Sintra, beautiful city. It's like, what's interesting though, I think, is in Europe, parts of Europe, and like we saw in Spain, Portugal, is I think ages ago when they were building cities, they would look at a mountainous or very hilly region and like, let's put a city on top of that, which I'm sure was a dumb idea.
Well, you could probably see the army's coming.
Yeah, I think it was for like fortification reasons, I guess. But when you're there,
because you see an army going, we can see you.
Yeah, yeah.
Say, fuck, they saw us.
Yeah, exactly. They have to sneak off again. But it's just so funny when you're like, this is an incredible town and must have been so difficult to make, and you're walking up super steep inclined streets.
Yeah,
like. I'm sure cars there must have to change their brake pads every year because they're parked on roads at a 90 not 90 degree angle. A steep angle. Sintra was a really beautiful place. It had these like beautiful gardens and stuff. I super recommend if anyone is traveling to Portugal, go to Sintra. We actually just had one day there, and I probably would have spent more time there. It's one of my more favorite places. Then I went to Lisbon, which was a really cool place. My brother's in Lisbon at the moment, so I got to meet him. Hadn't seen him for a while, so it was really lovely to see him. Lisbon was one of my more favorite places to go on this trip. It has, again, kind of a lot of history, a lot of interesting. It has this cool castle you can go see. And what was really cool is because my brother was there, we got to see like all these really interesting places that you would just never go if you're a normal tourist.
To live like a local.
Yeah, to live like a local. One of the coolest things we did was my brother said, there's like these series of like 3 streets. And when you... go down there, you look on the second story, and if there is one of those like red Asian hanging lanterns, that's a illegal Chinese food restaurant that's just in somebody's house.
Okay.
And so we went there for dinner. It was delicious. It was really cheap. and served really quickly. It was the best experience. Wow. So if you happen to go into Portugal,
go there before the Catholics wipe them out.
Go because the Catholics will come in and wipe them out.
Once they can get their army past because they keep spotting them on the hill.
Yeah, that's right. As soon as they demolish that,
as soon as they stick their way
hill. But so that was kind of a cool, unique experience. Cool. Otherwise, actually, Lisbon was very similar to Melbourne. I reckon there was like this similar vibe. Again, so much more history.
Yeah,
that was the other thing that was really apparent living over there is that Australia is so young. We have no history.
It's in our national anthem.
Yeah, that's right.
They brag about being young, which is never going to age well.
Yeah. Depends.
There's can't be that many more countries discovered.
Yeah. Maybe places in the Amazon if they get more colonized. We're young and free. Yeah. Oh, no. Then we went to Seville. That was also a really super pretty place. Really recommend that. One of my more favorite places as well. These like really awesome palaces. Which I've decided now I want to live in a palace.
They look too big.
They are extremely too big, but they're so cool because they're just made of like interesting tiles and stuff, like intricate kind of patterns and stuff, and huge gardens, huge, beautiful, like amazing gardens. We went to 2 places and
as long as you have the staff to man it.
That's the problem. Yeah. You need to be super rich.
Yeah. Because if you're trying to take care of that garden...
Yeah.
Well, no.
If somebody gifted me a palace, I'd be like, I'm going to have to spend so much money on maintenance people.
So if our listeners are saving up to buy Nelson a palace for his birthday...
Save a little bit more.
Yeah.
And what was interesting in Seville, and actually a lot of southern Spain, is on the streets, like the nature strip, all the trees were orange trees. And actually like producing fruit, growing oranges. I thought it was so interesting. Yeah. And orange trees are actually like really beautiful when you look at them. Like the leaves are very vibrant and look really great. So I just thought it was so interesting. And like that Seville, in particular is known for oranges and stuff. So, but it was, so great. Anyway, then we went to Jerez. Didn't like that. That was probably the worst place.
Okay.
Boring. Don't go there. Then we went to go on a bike tour. We rode one day, 50 kilometers in scorching heat. It was a really tough ride. Then afterwards got really sick. Found out it was COVID. That sucked. So then we were in hotels for a few days. And then we kind of went to another like small village. Not much there. Didn't see much. I was in the hotel room pretty much the whole time. And it was funny because these places spoke the least amount of English. I was like, this is the worst place to be sick.
Did they understand COVID?
Yes.
Okay.
In fact, because I was actually, I won't get into it, but weird thing. My lips swelled up when I was sick, right? And I was like, this is so weird.
You look like me.
It's not a COVID thing. Like it has to be, I've got some other disease or something. And spoke to my friend who was a doctor anyway, then went to the hospital and they were like, look, doesn't matter what you think you've got to do a COVID test first. They ended up talking on the phone. Actually, we had to call Ellen's brother who speaks Spanish because they spoke literally no English. And then they did a COVID test in the end for me. They don't normally do it, but they're like, foreigner, this is going to be too hard. We'll just do one now. Turned up positive. Oh my God, I've never disappointed someone so much in my life. She was like, yes, positivo. And I was like, oh my God, I feel terrible. Because obviously you're not meant to go if you've got it. And I knew that, but I was like, this isn't it. My lips literally swell up like as if I had been stung by several bees. And it was just so weird. We Googled later. Apparently it's an extremely, extremely rare reaction to COVID.
Oh.
So much so that this article that said how rare it was wanted to study more cases. I was like, I could let them know. But yeah, so anyway, then we went to, so we cancelled the rest of our bike trip, which really sucked. But went to then after that went to Cadiz. Yeah, it's fine. You can go there if you like. The beaches aren't that great though. People are like Cardew's beaches. Yeah, you should go there. Not that good.
Okay.
Don't go there for that, for the beaches. And then we went to other places. Forgotten where we went to from them. Oh, Granada. That was an amazing place as well. It's basically this like there's like a huge chasm. Don't know, a gorge in the middle of the town. And like a huge bridge that crosses it.
Yeah.
And again, super beautiful. I really love like naturey stuff and the way that land forms and then to see like, you know, a city or a
cities built into that.
Built into that. Like that fascinates me. So if you are interested in that stuff as well, Granada, I think you have to go to.
It makes me think like the settlement where they're like, there's this huge gorge in the middle. They're like, city here?
Yeah, exactly.
We've walked a while. Just city here.
Yeah.
Put the gorge. We'll put a bridge over the gorge.
Yeah.
It'll be fine. Let's do the city here.
Yeah, that's right. That's literally what it seemed like they did. Yeah, like it would be a fun challenge to build a bridge over it so that they could connect two sides.
You get a lot in a piece of land for your city. Like, we got the gorge.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. But that was a really amazing place and totally recommend that as well. And then we went to one other place. Granada?
Wait, you just said that.
Oh, did I?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I've got that place wrong. Ronda is actually where that is.
Okay.
And then we went to Granada. Granada was, sort of fine.
Okay.
I think by the time we went to Granada...
Granada got a big downgrade just there.
Here's the thing. I think Granada was amazing. They have... oh shit, I can't remember the name of the place. There's like a big, huge, like sort of palace and like, gardens and stuff. And I think the problem was because Granada was one of the last places we went and we saw pretty much all of that stuff
elsewhere. Yeah, garden.
It was like, I get it.
You got a palace, you got a garden.
Yeah. There was a lot of, I think... Arabic influence in that, which was kind of the difference, I guess. So it was palaces, but they had a bit more of an Arabic vibe or something. So that was still interesting, still probably worth going, but like just in the order that we went, it was kind of a little bit less interesting. And that was pretty much our trip. Also, another thing, churros. And in fact, pastries in general, although very much churros, way better in Spain. Unbelievably
Are you saying churros are better in Spain than in the Gold Class Theatre here in Australia?
Well, here's the
where
thing.
they're snap frozen until they're put in a deep fryer.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing about their pastries in general, right? And I'm going to assume this is all of Europe because obviously like the French, I would say, are known more for their pastries.
Yep.
And I'm not like a big pastry person in Melbourne. And I think it's because... honestly, we just do it wrong. We do it wrong. Probably, I want to say like Englandish. Well, it's also kind of in Europe, I guess. And America.
Not
anymore. Technically, still correct. But I think they all. Well, actually, they're still in Europe. It's not part of the European Union. Anyway, we make like dense pastries, and like they're filling, and after you eat it, you're like, ugh, that was like a lot, you know? And sometimes you can feel like that.
Yep.
But the thing is, these other pastries, they were always light, always fluffy. I had a like chocolate donut once and I bit into it and it was so light and fluffy. I was like, we've been doing it wrong this whole time. They're not meant to be these like dense, gross, full of sugar things.
How flaky are the pastries?
It kind of depended on what it was. So the churros themselves, they didn't look the same, by the way. They looked like a sausage almost. But pastry. Those were a little bit flaky, but not too bad. But it was like you bite into it and it was hollow-ish, you know?
A lot of air.
A lot of air, yeah. And just, super, super delicious, super amazing. On the other hand, I will fight any Spaniard.
End of sentence?
That's it. I'll fight any one of them. Who wants to say that their chorizo is better than any in Melbourne. We had chorizo quite a few times, and I reckon they were pretty average. I reckon we've got better chorizo in Melbourne. You can get way better chorizo here.
Okay.
And I'll fight a Spaniard about that. But yeah. So also, just another experience. I feel so guilty not being able to speak
the language of the place you were.
Language of the place I am, or just even on top of that, just another language in general. Like, it's so depressing when somebody's like, English or Spanish or French or Italian. Because I can speak all four. Which one would you like me to speak to you in? And you're like, I'm just a dumb person that speaks English.
I recently went on a business trip.
Yeah.
My colleague, she can speak 5 languages. And you feel like a real piece of shit.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's just, I just feel like so guilty.
And
I'm so sorry I'm here.
This woman is originally from Turkey. And I was like, 5 languages. So you got Turkish, I know German, you can do French, you can do Spanish. I was like, what's the 5th one?
Yeah.
She's like, English. yeah. Of course, yeah. I'm a fucking idiot.
That's so funny. But yes. Anyway, I feel so bad that it's amazing, especially to the doctor who did my COVID test.
Yeah, positivo.
It was positivo and didn't speak English. Like what? What an asshole!
I will say this:
tourist.
Look, you might feel guilty or whatever, but their experience of people that normally look like you are Catholics killing people. So actually, they're like, hey, look, he had COVID for a bit.
Yeah.
In the hindsight, it wasn't so bad.
Yeah, at least he didn't.
It was positive, obviously.
Overtly kill someone. Yeah. That was my trip.
Yep.
God, it's been a really long episode.
I'm gonna recommend. Let's skip AMA for this week.
Skip the AMAs. Apologies, people.
They've been waiting.
They have been waiting, yes, after us being away for so long. Thanks for writing in, though, anyway.
Yeah.
If you did.
We'll get to you.
We'll get to you. If you would like to write into us, you can do so. Reddit podcast, readitpodcast @gmail.com.
Don't let this week put you off writing in.
We'll definitely read it.
We'll be ravenous for emails now.
Yeah. Also, rate the show.
Yep.
And subscribe. And
have you lost your steam?
I'm just trying to remember how to end the episode.
Well,
part I've lost.
I'm going to shout out again that Council Movie Report starts on.
Yes.
If you're listening to this on the day, it comes out Thursday. If you're listening to it later, it's already out, mate. First episode is about a cancelled Batman movie. With a guest called Alexi Toliopoulos from the Total Reboot podcast. It's a very fun time. I would recommend it.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I also recommend it.
Yeah.
And I'm not biased.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
Yeah.
Would you want me to take over? You can rate and review the show if you'd like.
Yeah.
Is this what I'm like to you every week?
Yeah,
You're like, this is hard. You're giving me nothing here.
Yeah.
Rate
Keep going.
Rate and review the show. 5-star rating.
Mm-hmm.
Tell Nelson if you're a Spaniard and you'd fight him over chorizo.
Yeah.
Leave us a 5-star review and challenge him to a fight.
Yeah.
Or
Challenge me to a duel.
Leave a 5-star review that just says positivo. That would be fun.
That would make me feel guilty every time I read it.
You can follow us on our Discord, on our subreddit, on any social media. It's all READIT podcast, Reddit podcast.
Well, the Discord isn't READIT.
It's READIT podcast. Type that in, you get there.
No,
the Discord link is in the description.
Word.
Yeah, type it into Word. And print.
Print.
Yes. But that's it, Nelson.
Thanks for listening, and we will read you later.